What up, man? It's your big brother K-Rino. I want to get into this one real quick. In the music business, a lot of times we hear about artists who get messed over. I mean, it's been going on since the industry was created. There's always the label and the executives, and there's always the artists. And more times than not, they're basically um, pitted against each other. They not pitted against each other. They're basically at war because the people at the top who running the label, they always seem to want it all and not want to be fair in terms of what they should give the artist. So I kind of want to go into that mindset a little bit. The music industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and we probably couldn't even accurately calculate how much money has been generated since the inception of the music industry, as we know it, since it started generating revenue. And in that time frame, the majority of the revenue that's been generated has gone to the labels and CEOs and all that. And first thing people say, well, man, when they're putting the money up, they're making the investment, they have the connections to for the distribution, the manufacturing, the promotion, and marketing, and all that, and all that's true. But even with all of that, the percentages that they give the artists have always been um, terribly, horribly disproportionate. And the key catalyst to that is greed. Greed is the main thing, because I'm always a person who feels like um, talent should be rewarded. The talent should be compensated properly for the talent. And in this world where everybody talks about knowing your value and knowing your worth and all that, and luckily a lot of artists are starting to come in that mindset. Um, the CEOs and the labels, they have always known what the artist's value and the artist's worth is. They are just not going to compensate the artist based on their worth. They know what your worth is. That's how they make the money, based on what you bring to the table and what you pull out of the fan base's pockets. But when you have greedy individuals who are running the industry, man, they can never make enough, and there's never an amount that they can make that will satisfy them to the degree where they can finally say, well, yeah, let me make sure now I give this artist and that artist and that artist that. Now, am I saying that an artist should get uh, dollar amounts that they don't deserve to get? Nah, hey man, if the record didn't sell, I'm sorry. Well, then you can't be compensated for something that didn't move, or that you're not worthy of. But um, quite naturally, y'all know that's not what I'm talking about. It's too many times where the sales have been there and the documentation has been there. We can go all the way back to the SoundScan days and all this different stuff, and where it can easily be documented what was sold. Well, not everything, because it's always ways to get some under the table crap going on too. But just the percentage, the initial percentages that are uh, contractually laid out, you already lost from the get go. You've already lost from the get go when you can look at a time where a unit could sell for 15, $16, and the artist doesn't even make close to $1 per unit. And so going platinum is good on a resume. Going platinum is good as in terms of an accolade and a notch on a belt, to be able to say, hey man, this is something I can add, to my portfolio, to say that I am officially a platinum or gold artist. But the money does not reflect the accomplishment. So many artists over the years have suffered behind that. Meanwhile, the labels are generating millions and millions and billions, and if it's the right artist, they'll generate billions off of that one artist. I ain't even talking about as a collective what they got coming from their roster. So, um, fast forward, we've always had we recently started having these conversations about streaming and how the streaming game is set up. And the streaming game, in my opinion, it's actually worse when you talk about percentages that artists receive in comparison to what the labels and the streaming companies and all that get. It's worse than um, the percentages that, in terms of physical copies back in the days. It's worse because you getting literal. It's not even pennies on the dollar. You know, it's like you getting crumbs, man. You getting crumbs off the crumbs. They took the crumb and broke a piece of the crumb off the crumb, and they say that's your part. That's your portion. So greed is a real thing, man. And until we structure something that dictates ownership and figure out a way that we can start to bring in that revenue, the bulk of that revenue coming to the artist, then this gonna be a continual cycle. We on the hamster wheel, y'all. We on the hamster wheel big time, and the labels are never going to relinquish that type of advantage until we figure out a way how to make them do it. You know, until we create some kind of pressure that will make them have to come to the table and say, all right, we're gonna do this or do that, or, in my personal opinion, just stop dealing with them all together and figure out a way to do everything ourselves. And I know it's, oh man, we're not in position to do that right now. Well, we got to start working our way into position to do that, because um, we all utilize those platforms. All of us, anybody that's an artist, you utilize those platforms. I don't care what you say. I don't care how independent you claim to be. Um, you still have to go through those platforms to some degree, on some level. But it'll be a beautiful thing to reach a day where artists don't have to even deal with them at all, or it's optional. If you choose to want to go through a label, you can. But if you don't want to, then you don't have to. And when that playing field levels out, if they want to deal with us, they got to deal with us under our terms. And Houston was a really good example of that. I think we were the ultimate example of that back in the days, because when record labels didn't want to sign down south artists, down south artists just put the music out themselves, distributed and put it out themselves, and made the bulk of the money off of each sale. And that's something that cats on major labels were not seeing. They didn't see you getting a quarter off of every CD you sell. Meanwhile, we getting 7, 8, or 9 in some cases off every one we sell. And then when the label came and was interested in signing, with no pressure, it was like, well, nah, this is what I want. They either had to take it or, you know, shake their hand and nice meeting with you. But the mindset of a CEO, man, is to keep you underfoot. Is to never let you get on that level. I can't rule you if I can't rule a slave if I let the slave get on my level. The slave gonna have sense enough to say, well, wait a minute, I ain't gotta be a slave no more. You know, and unfortunately, a lot of us who kind of get in that position, who come from the mud and get in that position, and now they say, I want to start a label, they start acting the same way that the CEOs at the major labels act. So now the cycle continues even on an independent scale, because we are emulating the wrong type of behavior, instead of somebody coming and saying, well, man, I'm gonna kick my mogul game off and I'm gonna do it different. I'm not gonna be like that. I'm gonna make sure I'm fair with the artists and all that. But that ain't the world we live in, y'all. So tell me what y'all think about it, man. It's an old saying that says there's enough money out here for everybody, but it's real tough when uh, a handful of people are controlling 90% of the wealth. And that's America and the world in a nutshell, not just the music industry. All right, man, it's your big brother K-Rino. Y'all leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch y'all later on real soon. Peace.